Big revelations in silence. Sometimes when you take a little time out and a little time to reflect, you get big revelations. If you're on my email list, then you will have received emails from me in the past week about my experience with going about life in silence. My husband was out of town, which gave me a bit of space to work in silence, commute in silence, do dishes in silence, not watch the news, and generally conduct my life much more mindfully than otherwise. If you've never done this, you can still live your normal life, but you take out a huge portion of noise. I recommend this for everyone on the planet. This whole video, the whole content of this post that I did, are the revelations that I had in silence from just this week. You get insights. The thing about inviting more silence into your life is that the sounds that normally crowd your brain and silence your intuition suddenly stop. You're left with the sound of your beating heart, your normal thoughts uninterrupted in your head, and just the essence of you. This makes room for you to solve problems more quickly, get intuitive answers, and feel a lot more calm in general. I, for one, notice the content of my thoughts a lot more. Sure, I've meditated a long time. Even still, I don't always categorize my thoughts and know what they are. I noticed that I thought intensely about my meditation business this week. I thought about sending love to friends and family. I thought about work at my day job and how much I appreciated my husband. He had been gone on a ski trip, and absence sure does make the heart grow fonder. You may also know that I had been working with a coach the past few months to properly launch my meditation business and course. A few things happened that made me rethink this whole relationship. Don't get me wrong, she has been instrumental in helping me figure out how to niche down my website, understand what you all might want out of it, and help me create a course that I'm proud of. I would have never done any of that without her help. But in my week of silence, I realized that what she was now asking me to do was become more of a salesperson rather than a teacher. And under certain circumstances, this isn't a bad thing. But for me and my personality and my need to teach meditation to anyone that would ask, this runs counter to my values. I realized that while she had me create a high-end course, I was never really wanting to do work with a high-end crowd exclusively. I'm on this planet to teach, not sell. On Saturday, I did a self-prescribed retreat. I spent very little time with my phone or my computer. I went and had coffee with a friend. I went to the library. I spent the afternoon reading. And I was able to complete a second hour of meditation in the afternoon. It was in that second hour that I realized I wanted to restructure things a bit in terms of my teaching. The idea of the course, at least for me, was to enable people that wanted to work with me, but due to location and time, were not able to. This course was meant to be an option for them if we weren't able to meet face to face. I also wanted to get out into the community desperately. I don't mind offering donation-based classes. I've even thought about working with prison populations and homeless populations. My coach also had me emailing my list more often. You probably noticed if you were on my email list. And honestly, I didn't feel great about that. Meditation to me is a sacred practice. I cannot in good conscience teach it such that others are locked out. This is not what the teacher does. A teacher invites students to be part of their teaching. To be sure, there's an energetic exchange that must take place. That's why I won't do classes for free. I'll still ask for something in return so that there is this exchange of energy. It's vital to the growth of both parties. This approach might mean that maybe I'm always going to be small potatoes, and that's completely fine with me. My email list isn't very big, but every person on there is someone that I see, that I interact with, that I will respond to should they email me. This is about answering my calling, about sacred practice, inviting others to experience the calmness and healing that comes with a disciplined meditation practice. And so I'll tell my coach that her way is not really my way. My course will be a fraction of what she's asked me to charge, and I'll email my list when I know it's purely beneficial for the people who open those emails. It was during my week of silence that I decided to do a mini retreat just this past Saturday. I'm trying to do this once a month. Essentially, I try not to get on the computer and just go deep within for 24 hours. To be sure, I hope to do longer retreats that someone else leads this year, but just having that break yesterday was so powerful. I was able to intuit information about my business. There were even almost unrelated insights that I gained. With my husband having been gone, I can see why there are people out there who feel lonely when they don't have a partner in life. To be sure, I'm not lonely, but the insights I gained from a week of silence gave me a peek into what others might feel like when they don't have companionship. To be sure, my practice and my own sense of self-worth have always allowed me to stand firm in my own space without the need to rely on anyone else to feel complete. I am complete. I always was, and I always will be. Having a beautiful partner in life is an incredible bonus to that feeling of completeness. Now for the podcast. Since completing my meditation training late last year, I had been wanting to start a podcast. With the 30 or so of you that I spoke to late last year, almost all of you indicated that you wanted me to do a podcast. And building the course has kept me busy, but now I'm really entertaining that idea. After my tech retreat Saturday, I felt the need rising to get this started sooner rather than later. Part of why I haven't started a podcast just yet is that I'm not sure what the content should be. And maybe you can help me. I've thought about doing a straight up meditation podcast. But a lot of people like to listen to podcasts while they're commuting in their cars. And for the record, I don't recommend meditating while driving. That said, I thought about taking the same content that I usually talk about in a blog post, but in a podcast. I've even thought about interviewing people in the meditation sphere. It could include secular as well as non-secular leaders who would then share their insights. This is where you come in. I have a quick poll to see what you might like to hear in a podcast. Guided meditations, content similar to current blog posts, interviews with other leaders in the meditation field, something else, please let me know in the comments, or all of the above. And now the fun begins. All these insights, these notions of teaching meditation, tech retreats, working with coaches, podcasts, all these things came from a week of silence. Now do you see why I recommend it for you?